Good morning. This is Andrea with Happy Cloud Creations, and I'm jumping on this morning because it's week 7 of the Finish Those UFQs challenge. So I originally said I would do this challenge through the end of August, but I'm on my second to last quilt, and I only have one quilt left on my list. So I'm just going to focus on it until I'm done with my list, and then we'll see what happens in the group after that. You guys can keep posting your finished quilt projects, but I am going to work on some new things, hopefully soon. I'm hoping this week. If you have not downloaded the free project tracker yet, you can get this on my blog. It has a place for you to list all your quilt projects: blocks finished, top finished, backing ready, basted, quilted, and binding done. If you can see, I've actually made some pretty good progress this time around. 4 quilts are totally completed, and I am almost done with my large stepping stone quilt. So I have a pretty small throat on my machine. It's about, let's see, like this big. And this is an 85 by 85 inch quilt that I've been doing. I took, the pattern for the stepping stone quilt is a baby size. So I took 4 of those, which are 42 by 42, and I sewed them together with a 3-inch strip to make it a large throw. So it ended up being 87 by 87. But then when I laid it out to baste it, I taped all my backing fabric down, which is a sheet from Target, the Threshold Ultra Soft sheet. I like them because they're ultra soft, 100% cotton. So I laid it down, and I wasn't thinking, I want to lay my top down, and my top was actually an inch larger than the backing fabric. And I went to all that work of taping that down. I'm like, I am not going to rip this up and go find another sheet. So my solution was, I just cut an inch off of all the sides of my quilt. Since all the sides of my quilt are just strips, I don't think it took away from the design at all. They're just slightly smaller than the other strips. And the reason I think that happened was, back when I made this quilt in 2016, I was always pre-washing my fabric before I made my quilts. So that means I pre-washed the backing fabric. So I didn't take into consideration that it shrank slightly. So it was a slightly too small for my quilt top. But I think cutting the edges just slightly 1 inch smaller definitely made it work out. So the quilts ended up being 85 by 85. Also, when I went to strip piece them, put a strip in between together, even though the quilt's finished at 42 by 42, this strip, since the fabric had been washed, it was no longer 42 by 42. So you know when patterns say if you pre-wash your fabric, you may want to buy some more, a little bit more than the required amount. That's why. So I had to, you can see it's not even an inch of piece of fabric on all the strips ends, just so to make them long enough to fit the quilt. It was actually probably that much before I cut off all the edges. But I'm excited. I'm almost done with this. I have one of the corners just has like this much done. So since this is so large, I decided to quilt it diagonally, if you can see. So I started on one end, and I marked down the center with my ruler and my hair marker. This is a hair marker. It just gives an indent in the fabric so you can see the indent, but you don't have to worry about rinsing out ink. So I did a line down there, and then I started lining up with these points, which ends up being 2 1/8 inch. So from there on, I just marked 2 1/8 inch out along. I tried doing like marking 3 strips at a time, sew them, and then mark 3 more strips. I really like the texture so far is really awesome. It reminds me of, you know, the fabric that is already quilted like this. But this is a warm and plush batting, so once it dries, it's going to poof up more, which I'm excited. And that makes it so your quilt will fit in your throat very easily if you have a small throat machine. I just have a domestic Janome heavy duty. It's not even like a quilting machine. It's just their heavy duty model. So let's see. I'm rolling it up so that you can see how much actually goes in the throat. So only this much is like the most bulk that will ever be going through the throat of the machine. And then you do the first seam and then you unroll it and then you keep going out. And so you have less and less and less material in the throat of the machine. And then I flipped it around and did the other side. And then once I did the diagonal lines all going one way, I switched it and I started doing all the other way so that I get this checked quilt design. I wonder if you can see better on the back. See how it's kind of checked? I love it. I love it. I am so happy. I'm actually finishing this quilt. This is going to be a snuggle quilt for my family. Let's see. I have one corner that needs to be finished quilting, and then I can trim it. Oh, so it's this one. I marked out my lines here, 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 here. Just have to do a few more lines, and then it's done. I decided to do the binding in the dark royal blue polka dot. This is a Robert Kaufman fabric by Ann Kelly, which is also in the quilt. So I'm excited to finish this one. I hope you guys are making progress on your lists. After I finish this, I was wanting to cut into my new pattern this last week, but I just was like so busy focusing on this, I didn't get a chance to cut out the fabric. I ironed a bunch of it because it was back when I was pre-washing all my fabric. So I ironed it, and I just need to start cutting, and I'm excited for you guys to see that pattern. I will hopefully cut into it and post pictures soon. So it's school day right now for the kids. They're both off doing school, so I should probably get going. I hope you guys have a great day. And once this is done, I'll take a picture and share it with you all. I know I posted a picture of my kids holding it the other day, but it was so sunny out that it was like really reflective and it was really hard to see. So hopefully I can get a better little overcast day to take a photo once it's done. Okay, that's it. I will talk to you guys later, and next Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe I'll jump on Wednesday. We'll see. For the live check-in chat for the Finish Those UFQs 2021 challenge. And I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.